Struggles are the seeds of growth. It's a simple statement, but it carries the weight of truth. You see, nothing valuable ever comes without resistance. In nature, a seed must push through the soil, break out of its shell, and reach toward the sun before it becomes a tree. The process is uncomfortable. It's full of pressure, darkness, and strain. But without that struggle, growth would never begin. And just like that seed, every person who has ever achieved anything worthwhile has gone through something. They've faced hardship, disappointment, rejection, and pain. Yet it is in those very moments of difficulty that the process of becoming begins. Most people misunderstand struggle. They see it as punishment, as an obstacle, or as a sign that they're on the wrong path. But that mindset is what keeps them stuck. Struggle is not the enemy. It is the price of progress. It is the training ground where character is developed and strength is built. You don't grow when things are easy. You grow when you're challenged. When the days are long and the nights are full of doubt, when you're faced with failure after failure and still choose to rise, that's where the transformation begins. Take any area of life, health, business, relationships, mindset, and you'll find that growth never comes without a cost. But that cost is an investment, not a loss. The pain you go through is not there to break you. It's there to shape you. Think about it. When you work out, what are you doing? You're literally putting your muscles under stress. You're tearing them down so they can rebuild stronger. That's a law of development. The same applies to your emotional strength, your mental toughness, and your ability to overcome adversity. Now, not all struggles look the same. Some come in the form of failure, a business that didn't work out, a goal that was missed, a plan that fell apart. Others come quietly, the feeling of being stuck, overlooked, or doubting your own worth. But no matter the form, each struggle is a potential seed. And just like a seed, it must be buried before it can rise. It must be pushed down before it can grow up. That pressure you're feeling, that's the soil pushing against you, calling you to grow roots, to reach deeper, to become stronger. But let me be clear, growth from struggle doesn't happen automatically. It's not the pain itself that makes you stronger. It's what you do with that pain. Some people go through hard times and come out bitter, resentful, angry at the world. Others come out wiser, more focused, more determined than ever before. What's the difference? Perspective. The decision to learn to reflect, to extract value from the experience. You have to choose to grow. You have to look at your struggles as the very thing that will elevate you to the next level, not as barriers, but as bridges. And here's the powerful part. The more struggles you face, the more potential you carry. It's the people who've been through something, who've hit the bottom and kept digging, that often rise the highest because they've earned their strength. They've built it with discipline, with pain, with setbacks. They didn't quit when it got hard. They leaned into the discomfort and made it work for them. So if you're struggling right now, understand this, it's not the end of your story. It may just be the beginning. The pressure you're feeling isn't there to crush you. It's there to carve out something greater within you. Every great leader, every high achiever, every person you admire has been where you are. They've faced storms. They've doubted themselves. But they saw the struggle for what it was, a stepping stone, not a stumbling block. So instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Start asking, what is this trying to teach me? Because the lesson is always there. The seed is always there. And once you recognize it, once you water it with effort and patience, once you surround it with the sunlight of hope and discipline, you will see growth like you've never seen before. You'll become someone you didn't even know was inside you. The truth is, life will challenge you. But if you stay open, if you stay disciplined, and if you keep showing up despite the struggle, you'll find that the very thing that once tried to hold you down is now the reason you've grown. Struggles are not setbacks. They are setups for the strength you're meant to build. So embrace them, learn from them, and grow through them. Because those struggles, if you let them, will become the strongest part of your story. Discipline is the bridge between struggle and strength. That's not just a motivational phrase. It's a fundamental truth in life. When you're going through hard times, when the pressure is on and the outcomes are uncertain, the only thing that carries you forward is your discipline. It's not emotion, because emotions are inconsistent. It's not motivation, because motivation comes and goes. It's discipline, the daily commitment to do what must be done. Even when you don't feel like it, that turns today's hardship into tomorrow's strength. Think about anyone who's achieved something extraordinary in life. Whether it's in business, athletics, academics, or personal growth, there's always a common thread, consistent effort over time. That consistency isn't powered by inspiration alone. It's powered by a system, a routine, a non-negotiable decision to show up regardless of how things feel. And that's what discipline is. It's doing the right thing when it's hard, when it's boring, when no one is clapping. It's what keeps the fire burning long after the spark of excitement has faded. Struggles are guaranteed in life. Setbacks, failures, and obstacles are part of the process. But what you do during those moments determines who you become. Discipline is what makes the difference between a person who bends under pressure and a person who transforms under pressure. It gives you structure when everything around you feels uncertain. When emotions scream, quit, discipline calmly says, keep going. It silences the noise and keeps you aligned with your goals, not your feelings. Let's get practical. When you wake up tired and everything in you wants to hit the snooze button, it's discipline that gets your feet on the floor. When your mind starts telling you, just skip today, it won't matter, it's discipline that reminds you of your standards. Because here's the truth. Every time you give in to comfort, you weaken the muscle of resilience. But every time you push through, even just a little, you're reinforcing your identity as someone who doesn't quit. That's how strength is built, not in dramatic moments, but in quiet, consistent decisions. Discipline isn't about perfection. It's not about doing everything right all the time. It's about commitment. It's about showing up with integrity to the process. It's about understanding that failure is part of growth, but quitting isn't. You don't need to be the smartest, the fastest, or the most talented. You just need to be the most consistent. That's how people rise from average to exceptional. They do the small things every day with excellence and focus, and over time, those small things create massive change. And let's be clear, discipline is a form of self-respect. It says, I care about my future more than I care about temporary pleasure. It says, I believe in myself enough to invest effort even when the reward isn't immediate, because true strength is earned in the grind. It's earned in the repetitions. It's earned in the moments when no one sees what you're doing, but you do it anyway because your vision demands it. In a world full of shortcuts, distractions, and quick fixes, discipline is a superpower. It's rare, and that's what makes it valuable. Most people are looking for the path of least resistance, but discipline teaches you to take the path of most growth. It says, I'll do what's necessary, not what's easy. And over time, that mindset builds confidence, resilience, and strength that cannot be shaken by temporary failure or opinion. So, if you're struggling today, let discipline be your anchor. Let it guide you when emotions try to cloud your judgment. Let it hold you steady when life feels chaotic. Because the more you lean on discipline, the more you start to change, not just your actions, but your identity. You begin to see yourself as capable, as powerful, as someone who doesn't shrink in the face of hardship, but grows because of it. The most successful people aren't those who never struggled. They're the ones who remained disciplined through the struggle. They used it. They learned from it, and through that discipline, they found their strength. You can too, not all at once, not overnight, but day by day, effort by effort, one disciplined action at a time. And that's the bridge from where you are to where you're meant to be. Pain is a teacher, not a punisher. This is a concept that requires maturity to understand, because in the moment. Pain feels like it's taking something from you. It feels like it's unfair, like it's robbing you of peace, success, or joy. But if you step back and reflect, you'll find that some of the greatest lessons in life came from your most painful experiences. Pain teaches in a way that comfort never can. It sharpens awareness, reveals weakness, and demands growth. It exposes the areas of your life that need attention, correction, and strengthening. And if you're willing to listen, truly listen, pain will guide you to the next level of your life. Most people try to avoid pain at all costs. They run from it, deny it, numb it, or blame others for it. But the truth is, avoiding pain is avoiding growth, because pain always brings a message. It's telling you something here needs to change. Maybe it's a habit, maybe it's a mindset, maybe it's the people you surround yourself with, or the standard you've settled for. Pain is the signal that it's time to elevate, not to retreat, but to rise. Consider the most valuable life lessons you've learned. Were they taught in moments of ease and celebration, or in times of loss, heartbreak, and failure? It's the painful experiences, the ones that break your pride, that humble you, that force you to slow down and reflect, that actually give you the wisdom and depth to grow. When you lose, you learn. When you fail, you face reality. When things fall apart, you're given the chance to build something stronger, something more honest. Pain also builds empathy. When you've struggled, you understand what it means for someone else to struggle. You don't judge as quickly. You don't assume as easily. You become more compassionate, more grounded, and that makes you a better leader, a better friend, a better person. That's the irony of pain. While it feels isolating in the moment, it actually connects you to others in a more real and powerful way. But it only becomes a teacher when you approach it with the right mindset. If you let pain harden you, you lose. If you let it make you bitter or cynical, you miss the point. The key is to turn inward and ask the difficult questions. What is this trying to teach me? What patterns brought me here? What part of my thinking needs to change? That's how you convert pain into wisdom. That's how you turn a breaking point into a turning point. This transformation doesn't happen passively. You have to choose to learn. You have to resist the temptation to play the victim and instead take full responsibility for what you can control. Because while pain may come from the outside, growth always comes from the inside. It's your response that determines what you become. Will you use this pain to shrink or to stretch, to close off or to open up, to stay stuck or to evolve? Understand that every painful season in your life is preparing you for something greater. You might not see it now, but the patience you're developing, the humility you're embracing, the clarity you're gaining, these are long-term assets. They don't show up immediately as results, but they reshape your character. And in the long run, as who you become is far more important than what you achieve. Strength built through pain is not easily shaken. It's tested. It's earned. It's real. In fact, some of the most unstoppable people you'll ever meet are not the ones who had the easiest lives. They're the ones who learned how to use their pain. They didn't hide from it. They studied it. They grew from it. And now they lead with a sense of purpose and resilience that can't be faked. Their pain gave them perspective. Their struggle became their strength. So if you're hurting right now, don't rush to escape it. Sit with it. Listen to it. Don't waste your pain. Turn it into something powerful. Learn from it. Use it as fuel. Use it to break old patterns. Use it to become the kind of person who's not just surviving, but thriving with depth, with strength, and with purpose. Because when you treat pain as your teacher, it can become one of the most valuable parts of your journey. Shift the mindset from victim to victor. This change in perspective is one of the most powerful transformations a person can make in life. It's the difference between staying stuck in problems and rising above them. You see, everyone faces adversity. Everyone experiences pain, disappointment, and failure. But not everyone responds the same way. Some people stay in a cycle of blame and self-pity, while others take control, rise above, and turn those experiences into fuel for growth. The key difference is mindset. A victim mindset says, "This is happening to me, and there's nothing I can do." It's filled with complaints, excuses, and a constant focus on what's wrong. It's reactive. It waits for something or someone to change the circumstances before taking action. On the other hand, a victor's mindset says, "This happened, but I have the power to respond." It's proactive. It looks for lessons, solutions, and opportunities in the face of adversity. It doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It creates them. The truth is, life will hand you challenges that you didn't ask for and situations you didn't deserve, but staying in a place of powerlessness won't solve them. You may not be at fault for everything that has happened to you, but you are responsible for how you respond. That response determines your future. Responsibility doesn't mean blame. It means ownership. Victors take ownership. They look at the situation and ask, what can I control? What can I do today to move forward, even if it's just one step? When you carry a victim mindset, your problems feel heavier than they actually are because you believe you're stuck. But when you step into the victor mindset, you realize that every obstacle carries within it a possibility. You begin to understand that challenges are not there to destroy you. They're there to develop you. And that shift alone can change your entire life. Because now you're not just enduring pain, you're growing from it. You're not just experiencing failure, you're learning from it. You're not just facing adversity, you're mastering it. A victor sees setbacks as setups for comebacks. They know that failure is part of the process, not the end of the story. They keep showing up even when they don't see immediate results. They understand that perseverance is what separates winners from quitters. And most importantly, they don't rely on external validation. They build strength from within. They live with purpose, direction, and inner conviction. Now, this shift in mindset doesn't happen overnight. It takes effort. It takes awareness. You have to catch yourself in the moments when you want to blame, complain, or quit, and instead ask better questions. Not me. But what now? No! Not who's to blame, but what can I learn? Not when will this be over, but how can I grow through this? Those questions elevate your thinking. They give you clarity and courage. And over time, they reshape your entire approach to life. One of the most powerful habits you can build is daily self-reflection. Ask yourself honestly, am I acting like a victim or a victor in this situation? Am I avoiding responsibility or am I facing it? Am I waiting for someone to fix it or am I taking action myself? These questions aren't about judgment, they're about growth. Because when you start taking control of your mindset starts taking control of your life. You'll notice the shift in small ways first. You'll stop reacting emotionally and start responding with purpose. You'll stop fearing challenges and start embracing them. You'll stop doubting yourself and start believing in your ability to adapt and overcome. That's what victors do. They rise not because they have all the answers, but because they refuse to stay down. And remember, this isn't about pretending everything is okay or denying your emotions. It's about not letting your emotions control your direction. It's about being honest with your situation, but refusing to let it define you. That's power. That's leadership. That's strength. So if you're feeling stuck right now, ask yourself, what would the victor in me do? Not the victim, not the one who's overwhelmed, but the one who knows this challenge is shaping me into something greater. Then take that step, no matter how small, because the moment you shift your mindset, you change your reality. You move from helpless to hopeful, from stuck to strategic, from passive to powerful. And in that space, real transformation begins. Your story is your power. Many people go through life trying to hide their past, conceal their failures, or downplay the struggles they've endured. They feel ashamed of where they've been or what they've gone through. But what they don't realize is that the very things they're trying to hide are often the most powerful tools they have to offer the world. Your experiences, especially the painful ones, carry wisdom, insight, and strength that others can relate to, learn from, and be inspired by. When you own your story instead of running from it, you reclaim your power. Everyone has a story, but not everyone uses it. Some bury theirs in fear and silence. Others edit theirs to make it more acceptable or appealing. But the real strength lies in embracing it fully. The ups, the downs, the failures, and the victories. Because when you share your real story, you're not just telling people what you've been through, you're showing them what's possible. You're saying, if I can overcome, so can you. That kind of message can't be faked. It comes from truth. And truth has weight. There is no strength in pretending to be perfect. Strength comes from transparency, from honesty, from the courage to say, this is who I was, this is what I faced, and this is who I've become. That journey, that transformation is what people connect with. It's not your image that inspires others. It's your authenticity. And the more you own your story, the less power it has to control you. What once brought you shame can now bring you confidence. What once felt like failure can now become your testimony of resilience. Your story matters not just because of where you are now, but because of the road you took to get here. Maybe you faced loss, rejection, poverty, addiction, anxiety, failure, or fear. Whatever it is, don't disqualify yourself because of it. Instead, realize that those experiences gave you something: perspective, compassion, strength, grit. And those qualities are often the very foundation of leadership, influence, and personal growth. The world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs more real ones, people who aren't afraid to say, I struggled, but I overcame. Your story also helps others heal. Sometimes the words you speak from your own journey are the exact words someone else needs to hear to believe in their own. They see themselves in your story. They feel less alone, and they begin to believe that change is possible. That's the ripple effect of owning your truth. It goes beyond you. It becomes a light for others who are still finding their way through the dark. But before your story can serve others, it has to serve you. You must be willing to look at it, learn from it, and grow through it. That requires reflection. It requires courage. It requires letting go of the fear of judgment. And most of all, it requires the belief that your past does not define your worth. It reveals your resilience. You are not your mistakes. You are not your lowest moment. You are the person who stood back up. You are the person who kept going. That's the part of your story that matters most. And here's something to remember. Your story is still being written. Just because you've had difficult chapters doesn't mean the ending can't be powerful. You get to choose what happens next. You get to decide whether the pain turns into purpose, whether the failure becomes fuel, whether the struggle becomes strength. That power is in your hands, not because everything has been easy, but because you've chosen to rise anyway. So don't hide from your past. Don't be ashamed of the scars. They are proof that you've healed. They are proof that you've fought battles and lived to tell the tale. Own your story. Speak your truth. Use your voice. Because someone somewhere needs what you've been through. And when you stop being afraid of your story, you become unstoppable. You become someone who doesn't just survive life, but leads, inspires, and lifts others with the weight of your truth. In the end, your story is not just about you. It's about every life it will touch when you choose to live it boldly and share it courageously. That's where your real power lies, not in perfection, but in truth. Success leaves clues. One of the most powerful things you can do on your journey from struggle to strength is to study those who've already walked the path. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You need to observe, learn, and apply. People who have overcome great odds, built something from nothing, or turned their failures into victories have left behind a trail of wisdom. Their habits, disciplines, choices, and mindsets are not secrets. They are clues, and if you're willing to pay attention, those clues can save you years of trial and error. Every successful person in any field has patterns. They have morning routines. They read, They manage their time with intention. They invest in growth. They surround themselves with others who challenge and sharpen them. These are not coincidences. They are conscious behaviors repeated over time. And here's the truth: success is not built on one big breakthrough. It's built on small, consistent actions repeated over time. If you study the clues left by those ahead of you, you can begin to build your foundation the same way. But learning from others requires humility. You have to be willing to say, "I don't know it all." You must become a student of life. You must become hungry to learn, not just motivated, but teachable. That's where real growth begins. Pride says, "I'll figure it out my own way." Wisdom says, "Let me learn from those who've already been there." The difference is massive. One wastes time. The other compounds progress. There are books filled with strategies. There are speeches, biographies, podcasts, and mentorship opportunities all around you. The question is, are you looking for them? Or are you too busy complaining about how hard things are? The people who win in life are the ones who shift their energy from struggle to study. They take notes. They listen with intention. They don't just get inspired, they get equipped. Look closely at the habits of someone who has what you want. Are they more disciplined? Do they wake up earlier? Do they invest in their health? Do they protect their mindset? Are they focused while others are distracted? If so, those aren't just habits, they are clues. If you adopt what they do, you begin to see what they see. You begin to understand why they are where they are. And eventually, if you stay consistent, you can achieve similar results. Not because you copied them, but because you learned how to think and act at a higher level. Success is a formula. While it looks different for each person, the fundamentals are strikingly similar. It requires vision, clarity, consistency, discipline, patience, and adaptability. These elements are found in every success story, and that's the great news: success isn't a mystery. It's a process, and that process has been documented by those who've lived it. Another clue left behind by successful people is the value they place on failure. Most people fear it, but successful people use it. They see every mistake as feedback, every loss as education. They don't personalize failure, they analyze it, and then they move forward stronger, smarter, and more prepared. That mindset is a clue. It's a strategy that allows you to bounce back quickly and continue growing while others quit. Pay attention to how they handle setbacks, how they respond to criticism, how they stay grounded in pressure. Those are all insights that can prepare you for your own journey, because success is not about avoiding problems. It's about learning how to navigate through them with strength and clarity. And don't just study their successes, study their beginnings. Study the times when they were unknown, when they were struggling, when they doubted themselves. You'll find the same emotions you feel now, the same fear, the same uncertainty. The difference is they didn't stop. They kept going. They found a way. And you can too. You don't need to copy anyone's life, but you do need to learn from it. Take what aligns with your values and use it to grow. Let their journey be a roadmap, not a destination, but a direction. And the more you study success, the more you realize it's not about talent, it's about habits, not about luck, but about consistency, not about background, but about belief and effort. So don't waste time trying to figure out everything alone. Success leaves clues. Follow them, apply them, and leave your own for someone else to follow. That's how we grow generation after generation, by building on what came before and rising higher because we paid attention.